Hey everyone, Miss Reimer here with Music Teacher Message. Today I'd like to introduce you to another plastic instrument. This one has kind of an unfortunate name, I think. It's called the Toot. T-O-O-T. I wish it was named something better, but that's okay. It is a cool little plastic instrument. This is something that would get a student ready for playing the flute. So we're gonna walk through things that I like about it, things I don't like about it, all that good stuff, and you'll get to hear it coming up. So this instrument is aimed at students ages 5 to 9, according to their website, and it is something to get you ready for playing the flute. So their website says it's for a child ready to progress from the recorder. The Toot is the perfect step to ultimately playing the flute. Now, I actually think it would be easier to play this than a recorder, because one thing I see students struggle with the recorder is covering up the holes. But as you can see, there are just these like silicone pads to push down, and I think that would actually be easier for a lot of kids because there's something you can like feel, and it makes like a little sound. I don't know if you can hear that, but it makes a sound when you push them down, and I think that's a little more satisfying. But B, I think it's gonna be easier for kids to tell when they've actually pushed it down rather than like covering the hole. Sometimes a lot of kids tell me that they can't feel the hole on the recorder. So let's talk about the things I like about the Toot. I already mentioned the silicone pads. I also like that there are these like plastic kind of like bars built in up here and down here. And I like those because it's gonna like encourage kids to hold it the right way. That if you were holding it backwards, it's not very comfortable that way. And so I think it would be a nice like gentle reminder which hand goes where to not hold it the wrong way. Now let's talk about this lip plate. This is called the First Notes lip plate. One thing I see with beginner flute players is that they struggle a little bit to figure out where to put it side to side on their head. And with this, it's almost like a recorder mouthpiece, kind of, so it'll actually go in your mouth. And it just kind of gets you used to like, where does it go? And it feels a little strange to me because this is meant for kids, so it's a little small. But one thing that I see with beginning flute players, like I said, is just it takes a while to figure this out. And sometimes the fingerings are a little tricky, and so it's hard to think so much about your mouth and how to roll the flute and where to put it and the fingerings. Like, it's kind of a lot. So I like this, that it gives them something to like get used to, and then they can just kind of focus on the fingerings at the beginning. So what I would recommend is having kids start with this, and then once they can get like a good sound and they, are a little more comfortable with where this fits on their body when they're gonna play, and they have a couple of notes down, then I would switch out the lip plate. And it comes with like a more traditional flute lip plate, which is like this, and then there's this little plastic tool, and you just kind of put it in here and pry it off. And just like that, it is off. And then I pop the other one on. Now, I wouldn't switch the two out, all the time. I don't think it's meant for like constantly switching. But I think a few times, and there it snaps in. And then and like I said, it's a lot smaller than a real flute is. So for me, coming from a regular flute to this, it's a little awkward. And like I said, it's made for 5 to 9 year olds. So it's a little small, but. It does have a little bit different sound to it when you're playing with this one versus this one. Interesting. Now, I haven't actually taught anyone to play the Toot yet. And so it will be interesting to see like how this whole lip plate thing works, but I think it's very intriguing because that's one of the things that happens, I would say, with maybe like 90% of my flutes, is just the struggle of trying to get a sound out of a traditional lip plate. So I think this would be really helpful. I'm excited about this. So a couple of videos back, I said that I wanted to talk about the same criteria with all of the plastic instruments that I'm reviewing. So this is no exception. First off, I'm looking at how close the fingerings are to like the real instrument. So if we're from C to C, one octave of all naturals, because this is in the key of C, all of the fingerings are correct. This would be a low C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then flipping it to C like that. That's all correct. What gets funny is like the accidentals. Sometimes it has us doing like a half hole, kind of like an oboe. So there are a couple of keys that have like these black dots on them, and it's like another silicone like plug that just like pops in there. And you can take those out, and then instead of playing with like pushing down the whole pad, you just kind of back it off, and then the air escapes out of the hole. So like it changes the sound a little bit to like push that down. If I were teaching with this, and I'd like to, I would not have the kids take those out, because at this age, we're talking 5 to 9-year-olds, I don't know that we need to get into flats and sharps at that age. I think if we could go from C to C, that would be great. So like, you know, if you're thinking like, well, it's a precursor to a flute, we need to be able to play B flat. Well, B flat on here is not going to be like flute B flat. But I'm okay with that, because like I said, C to C are all correct. And then if they're going to play like a real flute, then it's like, okay, I need to teach you B flat and E flat, and we're off and running. So then you're already going to know a lot of these notes. So I'm kind of picky on like, I'm only okay with instruments like this if it's going to teach a student the right fingerings to move on. And this does. It does. Now, it does have more notes. It can go above an octave. Let me consult the fingering chart to make sure I say this right. But it goes from the C below the staff to the G right on top of the staff. And you can play all of the flats and sharps in between. Again, though, some of those fingerings for the flats and sharps are going to be different than like an actual flute. So I wouldn't teach it. If I were using this like instead of recorders, I would not go to the flats and sharps. That's just me, though. The next talking point is, how easy would this be for a student to switch to like the real instrument? I think it would be pretty easy. There are going to be things that going from this to a real flute, you know, we're going to have to learn. This is only in 2 pieces, but you don't actually have to take it apart. It comes in this little like zippy pouch, and it just kind of goes in, and then you zip it closed. So yeah, you would have to teach like a real flute player then how to take apart the 3 pieces and how to clean it out and stuff. And then a real flute's obviously, like I said, going to be a lot bigger than this, but I don't think it's, you know, any big deal. So the next one is, how close does it sound to a real flute? Let's do some playing and find out. My next question is, how durable is it? This is really durable. It's made out of plastic, and then all of the pink is like silicone, and so it's very durable. It says you can wash these with like hot soapy water or warm soapy water, I think it says. Yeah, so it's very durable. It's nothing you wouldn't mind giving to a child to play around on. The next question is, how long would a student be able to use it before they need to upgrade? I think this would work through 4th grade. I think if you're going to do band, and my students do 5th grade band, that's why I said 4th grade for a cutoff. I think at 5th grade they are ready for like a real flute. I think this is a great instrument for younger students. We've been talking a lot in my music classes about instrument families and the different types of instruments that are available. And a lot of kids go, ooh, I want to play the flute. And then if you have to say, you're in kindergarten, you have to wait until 5th grade. Like, that's a really long time. But if you could say like, well, to get the more grown-up one is 5th grade. But you could, get one of these and maybe you can play around with it at home and try some things out. I think it would be nice to offer some options for younger students to try out if they think they are interested in playing a band instrument. Last, we're going to talk about the price. This is $29.99. I got mine on Amazon, but you can also get them from music stores like Woodwind, Brasswind, and things like that. So at $30. Like I said, you get this pouch, and it's kind of like fake leather. There's a little place for your name that slides in. It's a zipper pouch, fuzzy on the inside, and then you get both of the lip plates I was talking about. You get that little tool to help pry it out, and a fingering chart. And so it has all the notes that it can play printed on here. And then it shows like how to change out the lip plate and some other things as well. So I think for $30, it's a good deal. You can learn a lot of music on just this, 30 bucks. Kind of incredible, actually. I wish we had these for all my students. Now, the real question is, who would I recommend this for? I would definitely recommend it for my K through 4 students. If they're at all interested in, wanting to try an instrument, maybe it's this one. Especially kids who are leaning towards flute. Like, why not let them try it out when they're younger? It's just, like I said, you can do a lot with this. I was just thinking like, wait, if it's in the key of C, we could play a lot of boom whacker stuff and these, if we had like a little ensemble. Anyway, you could do a lot with this. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for somebody older, although it's kind of fun to play around on. It is fun, I'm not gonna lie. Someone's coming. Sorry, they were coming in to get my trash. So I would mainly recommend this for students, but if there are, older students or adults who, are like, I want to just mess around with this, like I said, you can do a lot with it. And as long as you're not picky on the fingerings aren't the same as a flute for like flats and sharps, you could play all kinds of music just on this for 30 bucks. Pretty impressive. So if you've got any questions about the Toot, I would love to answer them. Send me a comment down below. And if you'd like to like and subscribe, that would be great. We are really trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So what that does for us is I can start running ads on this channel. And the money's not for me. I told my students that if I ever get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time, which I did hit the watch time, then I could start running ads on this channel. And it looks like there are ads on there, but the money's not coming to me. It goes to YouTube, I guess. But I wanted a way to like fund things for the music room. So that's what I'm really trying to get my 1,000 subscribers for, is so that we can have new music for shows, new instruments, things like that. So if you know anyone who's interested in subscribing and helping out my classroom, if you could please send them a link and ask them to subscribe, that would be great. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.